etymology of the word community can be traced back to the Latin word communitas, which means shared in common and public spirit. Community is a fundamental building block of society. Human characteristics, interactions, and connections with one another make a place either livable or non livable. And the individual is a basic component of both community and society. As such, having a healthy individual is of utmost importance to the advancement of any society. I'm glad to have Dr. Carol Cullum on CHEZUBA Talks today. She is an entrepreneur, community organizer, and educator, author, mentor, and business consultant who takes pride in empowering clients through education and training as a leadership development professional. She possesses a doctorate degree in educational leadership, a master's degree in educational leadership and organizational change, a master's degree in social work, and a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Her passion is to encourage others to expand their knowledge base and skill sets to become a viable asset to the contribution of leadership development. Welcome, Dr. Carol.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just delighted to be here.
That is an extensive list of degrees that you have. I am impressed.
Oh, wow. Many years of course, adding to knowledge and still learning.
That is the secret of youth.
Indeed. Yes, it is.
So, Dr. Carroll, tell me your organization, True Believers, plans and executes program for youth. What kind of programs are these?
Yes, our nonprofit organization is called True Believers Community Connections. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we have a youth initiative called Stay Lit. And that LIT is an acronym for Living in Truth. So we
Okay.
provide supportive services, social emotional learning activities, workforce development, youth development, a plethora of educational platforms for young people to be shaped for adulthood. And so that looks like mentoring, that looks like civic engagement activities, that looks like STEM summer camps, that looks like young moms support camps,
Oh,
that looks like justice involved youth programming. So there's a many of um, arms that we present to young people, and just to explore things to see what they really want to focus on for their adult life.
yeah. So, obviously, there was a need that you felt for such an organization, and which is the need that is the most compelling that needs to be addressed right away?
I'll tell you that the reason that I founded True Believers Community Connections was because I saw that there was such urgent needs that needed attention in the local community. But I will say, specifically, as I was out in the local community attending our high school career fairs, talking to young people about entrepreneurship and what it's like to launch and start their own businesses and those things to really look forward to. I saw as I was going in those high schools that a lot of girls were expecting, they were
Oh,
pregnant. And so, in seeing that, I responded to that urgent need that I saw and started doing work specifically for young moms. One young girl, when I saw her in the high school, I walked alongside of her and I said, "Girl, hold your head up. You're beautiful. I know, things may not be what you expect, but, you're beautiful. Hold your head up." And just to see her demeanor, her entire demeanor change, I'll say that's what drives our work, right? Everything we do is in response to an urgent need in the community. And so we do a lot of community meetings, gatherings, task force meetings with my partners just to identify what are the urgent needs in our
hmm.
programming, our
Hmm.
community outreach, our activities and events are in response to those needs. Right now, it's a lot of violent tendencies, uptick in violence and shootings, carjackings, things of that sort. And so we do a lot of violence prevention work. So we have, again, in response to that, a program called Justice Involved Youth. So the young people who may be directly or indirectly impacted by the criminal justice system, we have a safe space that we can talk through the traumas surrounding those encounters with law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Perhaps their parents are incarcerated. Perhaps they have a criminal history that they are unsure how to apply for jobs or employment. And so, again, the programming, the events, and activities that we have for the young people all shapes them for adulthood. And so we prepare them for those encounters with having a comprehensive, full wraparound services while we do that.
Right. You mentioned about these issues. These are issues that are pertinent and they really need to be dealt with. Obviously, you have a team that is helping you out, identifying and creating a curriculum for what you said. Now, making a curriculum will have to also be dynamic, isn't it? Will it be uh, not set, a
Mm.
2 month
Mm.
course or a 3 month course? It needs to be dynamic.
So our services are all earmarked to get to the root causes of whatever the urgent needs are, right? And so when we identify a young person or a young person reaches out for our services, we first do that intake assessment to determine those urgent needs. And for example, we had young moms who we had learned after they, of course, attended our programming and we built and established a relationship and a rapport with them. We had learned that some of our young moms were experiencing domestic violence, some of our young moms were homeless, some of our young moms, of course, needed assistance with medical attention and, food and a lot of other urgent needs. And so, again, that comprehensive approach, of course, lends to having these discussions on what it is that they feel that they
Correct.
need to learn. The first topic that they feel is going to be the most important. With serving our young moms, they told us they wanted to learn couponing, right? So,
Uh-huh.
who would have thought a curriculum for a young moms group would be
Is
connected to couponing? Right, but they wanted
well,
to learn how to save money while they were shopping for the newborn babies and things like that. They wanted again topics that you would not find scripted for a parenting class. So our
exactly.
parenting curriculum was all specific to what the mom shared with us that they wanted to learn. They
Exactly.
mentioned they wanted to learn how to search for apartments, where what sites to go to and what should they look forward to, and how's that process, what to expect when they're going looking for an apartment. So we had to create curriculum
Kidding.
around apartment hunting,
Yeah.
and we brought in a master couponer
Okay.
to sit and have those experiences in terms of how to clip out the coupons and attach them to get the biggest earnings. We brought in real estate, real estate
An
agents. I'm so
agent.
sorry.
Yes.
The agents to come in and they talked about how to complete the rental
Process. Yeah.
applications and what the landlords are looking for in tenants and the do's and the don'ts to apartment hunting and all of that. So, again, specific curriculum designed for the needs. So that's how we function, and
Absolutely.
we found that that gets us ahead a lot.
Yeah. Let's take a break to understand what CHEZUBA is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chizuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chizuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with non-profit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chezuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chezuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. Who would have thought? I mean, I'm sure you have discovered some new professions here.
Indeed, indeed, because
Uh,
you could not have told me we'd be creating curriculum.
uh, is there any way that this can be mitigated? Of course, you are trying, but is there some way where uh, these kind of issues that are cropping up and they seem to be increasing day by day, can they be mitigated in some way?
I believe that we are making great strides in shaping young people's mindset and mentality around career exploration, around decision making, conflict resolution. Again, those activities that we do around civic engagement, we're increasing the pride. In terms of where they live, because we do community cleanups and really showing young people how to be leaders and to use their voice. And so
Very
I
important,
believe,
yes.
yes, so I believe that we are making great strides in terms of the impact that we're making. And so we see the increase in knowledge. We see the change in personalities. We see, the successes, and we see the challenges as well. I can't say it's all, upswing, but
Absolutely.
we see the turnaround, and that's what keeps us going.
Absolutely, yes. It's a work of patience, I believe, a lot of patience. And I think
Hmm.
all your volunteers also must be needing to be trained in being patient with um, the beneficiaries.
Yes. Yes, we have trainings quite often, as a matter of fact. But that's I think a part of the process, because young
Absolutely.
people are constantly evolving. They're evolving. They're becoming, and we, of course, would need to adopt. The developmental stages that they're in, and make sure that we're aware of those expectations and those things that they're up against as being young adults. They deal with a lot from day to day, and so we need to be trained not only about being trauma informed,
Mhm.
but just the developmental stages of our young people and understanding where they are as
Yes.
individuals.
Right, right. Most difficult age. So, Dr. Carol, could you just talk to us about the programs that you have? I did read up your website and I found out that you teach etiquette, you teach emotional well being, you are talking
Yes.
about self confidence and future
Yes.
goals. That amazing topics, these are all the need of the hour. They are something
Yeah.
that need to be taught from a young age. It cannot just come overnight. How are you doing this?
Oh my goodness. And just as I mentioned, that young mom, you know, just something to say to others that would just have them
Yes.
lift up their head, because
Yes.
we don't know how they really truly feel about themselves, right? When you have the social media showing imagery, that could potentially have a young lady or a young man really, kind of having low self-esteem, just a kind word, a kind
Yes.
gesture can go a long way. And so we teach that, if someone else, is looking, at you as not being up to par, that's really their problem, right? Because however best you can put yourself together for the day, feel good and exceptional about that, right? And so really teaching them how to make sure that they are confident no matter what comes their way, that they stand strong, that they utilize that support circle if they're having any thoughts about depression or suicide, because that's really what it's about, trying to offset depression, suicide, these mental challenges that our young people deal with. Grief and loss is really, really big. And so, those conversations, who's in your support circle, where can you go when you really need to talk with someone? And
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing to teach. Where do you go for help? Who do I have who really has my best interest at heart?
True. I was watching a talk yesterday where it said, more the person opposite, the person you're speaking to, is more or less reflecting or mirroring your
Mm,
emotions. And that is so important. When you are kind, like you say, when you practice kindness, the person across will also respond in the same manner. So, yeah, these are beautiful. Talk about your leadership program, please.
mm, mhm. So, in terms of our leadership program, I'll even swing back to justice involved youth programming. That particular program that we have actually starting this week, Thursday. Um,
Uh huh.
I will say that although, again, a requirement is that they're impacted in some way by the criminal justice system, this particular 6 weeks is shaping young people for employment. So, what we're doing is we're talking about public safety. We're talking about, again, resume writing, interview skills. We're talking about civic leadership. And then we're going to lead up to a youth job and employment resource fair. So,
Oh,
what we've
nice.
done is we've partnered with background friendly and youth friendly employers that are going to come on site and they're going to interview our young people because they have completed our program. Now that they're polished and prepared for
Prepared.
employment, we assist so many young people with completing their very first resumes ever, as well as very first jobs ever. And again, we take pride in doing that because we prepare them not only to gain employment, but to maintain that employment. So we're
Very
talking
important,
about,
yes.
yes, professionalism. We're talking about timeliness. We're talking about customer service and having a servant's heart and that type of thing. And so, again, it's leadership folded into justice involvement, right? And so,
Uh-huh.
we again uh, genuinely drafted curriculum that suits the needs of our young people in our local community. It's not scripted, it's not from a book, but it's because we realize although our young people may have had some encounters with law enforcement, they're still leaders. They
Absolutely,
still need
yes.
to be shaped and prepared for adulthood. And so we make sure that we're that connector and we link them up to those opportunities so that they can yet soar and become those great individuals, those great leaders that we know they are.
I love the way you say that, Dr. Carol. I see that intensity, I see that passion, and I see that drive to make sure that these young lives are really, really reaching their potential. That is
Hmm.
amazing.
Hmm.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for sharing all this.
Thank you so
Um,
much for having me.
I wish you continued growth and success. And
Hmm.
like you say, I'm going to end this episode by telling everybody who's listening and watching this to be kind. It doesn't cost anything. That's all from me in this episode, folks. I'll leave you with the thought: in every community, there is work to be done, and in each one of us, there is the power to do it. Goodbye.